skincare mood. Hi guys, welcome back. Today is skincare after dark with Fel. But actually, because I think you guys are probably used to by now the typical kind of AHAs that we go on about, like lactic acid, glycolic acid, BHA. So I'm not going to be talking about any of those today. I'm going to be talking about 5 kind of underrated and unexpected ingredients that can really help with pores, hyperpigmentation, and just dealing with like pre-acne and post-acne scarring and things like that. Three main reasons that we can get hyperpigmentation or any discoloration is inflammation of the skin, dehydrated skin, and also like UV sun-induced hyperpigmentation. And those are the 3 culprits of basically most forms of hyperpigmentation on our skin. In any skincare routine, I feel like to make it as simple as possible, you just break it down into 3 simple steps. So cleansing, actives, and hydration. So today we're gonna really focus on that middle active stage where I'm gonna give you 5 ingredients that you can look out for. But first, I wanna thank Paula's Choice for sponsoring a portion of this video. Obviously, Paula's Choice is one of our favorite brands, so we're so excited to be collaborating with them again. And I'm gonna be sharing with you guys some old favorites, but also a new favorite that I've been using over the last couple of months, which may or may not be the reason that my skin is so clear. But let's first jump into Tranexamic Acid. Oh my god, my cup is matching my sweater. So Tranexamic Acid, we came across 3 or 4 years ago, and it was one of those like new ingredients. No one really formulated with it, but now you can start slowly seeing it in more products. So the ingredient is basically a depigmenting agent, which means it helps by reducing or inhibiting the amount of melanin that's produced in our skin. So melanin is basically what gives our skin its color, but when it produces in overdrive, that's when we get like dark splotchy areas, you know, things like age spots or sunspots, because the melanin is trying to protect our skin, and so therefore it darkens. But also dehydrated skin can also lead to melanin production, because as we learned with Alicia from Preach and Lily, she said that sometimes when our skin is dehydrated, it basically triggers to the melanocytes that it should start producing more. And then so it basically stains the cells, and then our skin cells obviously like start pushing itself up, right? Every 28 to about 30 days, it will start moving up towards the surface of our skin. And so the closer it is to the surface, it appears as hyperpigmentation. So there's like so many interesting reasons and, you know, ways that hyperpigmentation can form. And tranexamic acid is actually a really gentle ingredient as well. It's compared to being able to give the effects of hydroquinone, as we know is a really good kind of brightening ingredient, but that can carry kind of like irritating effects because it is quite potent, but tranexamic acid is very gentle. So in terms of being able to gently break down kind of the darkening and browning of little splotches over the skin, 2 to 5% has been found to be really great. So there are like times where my skin just, I feel like the hyperpigmentation flares up so much more and looks way more dark and brown on specific weeks. Especially it's like when it leads up to my period, I just feel like all the kind of like dark marks just come out. So I've been trying over the course of like the last 3 months. This is the Paula's Choice Discoloration Repair Serum. So it has 3% of the tranexamic acid, which is great because it lies between the 2 and 5, which is shown to be really efficacious. And then it's also got 5% of niacinamide, which is also one of my ultimate favorite ingredients for like literally doing everything. So to me, the pairing of niacinamide with tranexamic acid is like a frigging match made in heaven, because it's not gonna give you any sort of like drying or irritating effects, but I've realized that it really has helped. So I started using this maybe 4 times a week in the first week, just to like test out how my skin would kind of react, and it was actually super gentle. I didn't feel any kind of like effects. So then I started ramping it up to like 5 times a week, because sometimes I like to change out my serum and just play around with other things. But I feel like you can definitely see the brightening effects. And it's nothing that's so obvious where it's like shocking the next day you feel like you're a changed woman or whatever. It's actually over like a week, my skin is just like even. It's that look that you want where if you didn't want to wear anything out the door, you could do it because the redness around my nose, kind of like those brown splotches from post-acne marks, just really subtly started to just disappear. And then I think it was like the 4th day, I was like, huh, my skin looks pretty good. And then I don't know if this also has to do with like my pores, but my pores have just been like, I haven't even had to worry about them over the last, I can't even remember the last time I looked in the mirror and was like, oh my god, my pores are so huge, because they're so flat. So I feel like you can definitely use this every day in your nighttime routine. It really just depends on your skin. You can also use this during the day, but obviously just follow up on SPF. To me, there's nothing here that like you wouldn't be able to use during the day. Like for me, I just stay away from using retinols or kind of like glycolic acids and stuff during the day, because I just feel like I tend to stick more towards like my vitamin C's and things. But niacinamide can be used day or night, tranexamic acid day or night. So this has been really the only kind of serum for my dark spots that I've been using. And although you can still see I have some, it's just like, I don't know, it's just very even. And I'm like so impressed because I just don't wear makeup, you know, during the day unless we're filming, and I don't even feel like I have to. So this has truly been great. So then I really just want to talk about this mask as well, because I just love it so much. And I just feel like if you guys have blackheads, whiteheads, hyperpigmentation, acne marks, whatever it is, you have to try this mask. This is a 25% AHA plus 2% BHA rinse off mask, and it's this like butterfly pea purple color. And I use this every time I feel scaly under here. I don't know if you guys know what I mean. It starts getting really bumpy under my bottom lip in this region specifically sometimes. And then there was like this period, I think a couple weeks ago, where I was like oily and crusty dry at the same time. I think it was like dehydrated from the heater always being on. I probably wasn't drinking enough water. I needed to step up my moisturizer game or whatever it is. It was just like weird, oily in the T-zone and like just dull everywhere else. Those times, that's when I jump into this mask, and it just kind of gives you a whole new world after you wash it off, because it's so good. It's the most potent mask that I have, and it doesn't sting. Because this is a rinse off mask, it's actually okay to go in with your actives as your topicals, because it's not like you're overdoing it, but it really is just dependent on you and you know how much your skin can tolerate. So moving on to the next ingredient is Mandelic Acid. So Mandelic Acid is honestly like one of my favorite ingredients, and it's also one that doesn't appear much in a lot of ingredients, which is just crazy because it's just great. I first came across it 4 or 5 years ago with the Dr. Wu serum. So what Mandelic Acid is, it's derived from bitter almonds, and it is a form of AHA, but it's got a really high molecular weight, which means that the likelihood of it irritating your skin is much lower. So it also helps to gently exfoliate the epidermis, which is where, you know, the top layer of our skin where the hyperpigmentation starts to flow out of. And it also helps to decongest with pores and also just give you that like well-rounded, brightened and evened effect. So the effects is very similar to tranexamic acid. Once again, there aren't many products with Mandelic Acid, but the one that I can speak most of is obviously my favorite. It's the Dr. Wu. This is Intensive Renewal Serum with 18% of Mandelic. This is also a serum, but it's like super watery. Like you would think it's a toner, which is why when I use it as my toning and serum step and then just jump straight into a moisturizer. So This one is 18%. The thing with Mandelic Acid, as we were talking about the fact that it has a high molecular weight, and so you can't really compare the percentage of like a Mandelic Acid with 18% to glycolic acid or 18% salicylic acid, because all the percentages are different depending on the ingredient, right? So for me, this 18% is actually very gentle still, even though it does sound like a lot. What I find with Mandelic Acid is that it's also very hydrating. Like I always feel nice and supple afterwards, and I never feel dry like I'm actually using a active ingredient. That's why I love these first two ingredients, because that's essentially the effect that it gives you. Next ingredient I want to talk about is arbutin or Alpha-Arbutin. So we typically see this formulated with vitamin C, and usually you'll find it in combination with other skin brightening ingredients. So arbutin works at the cellular level, much like the other ingredients, to inhibit tyrosinase production. So that just means it's helping to manage, once again, the melanin from being produced from its very core. And you're kind of nipping it at the bud before it becomes or festers into any form of darkening by the melanin in our skin. So unlike Tranexamic or the Mandelic, it's actually very hard to find arbutin as the hero ingredient. And it's always kind of just like this supplementary supporting act. It's the supporting actor. And on the Ordinary's website, they say arbutin is really sensitive to degrading in the presence of water if the pH level isn't ideal. So formulation is really important when it comes to this, formulation's important when it comes to everything, right? But that's just something to note. And it said that arbutin is shown to work at concentrations around 3%. So my favorite for Alpha-Arbutin that I can think of is the Beauty of Joseon Serum. It's the newest one actually, the Glow Deep Serum, which has rice and arbutin. So it's got 2% of the arbutin, as well as panthenol, rice bran water, which is like rice extract. You guys seem to really enjoy the Beauty of Joseon serums as well, because they're just so easy to use, and I feel like the way that they combine the two key ingredients in their serums, it's just like chef's kiss. And I did use this for about 3 weeks. I would say this is very, very mild. So it's not gonna help with like stubborn hyperpigmentation like these two can, I feel like. So to me, that one is more of a hydrating serum, but it's just one up on a centella or like a mugwort serum. If you're already doing pretty well and maybe there's just like a few little areas that are a tiny bit like red or a little bit darker, but not too much, this is something you can definitely explore because it is super mild, so lightweight, so easy to incorporate, it's not sticky, and I feel like it can really help you with hyperpigmentation through hydration as well. Alright, now moving on to Azelaic Acid. So Azelaic Acid, I feel like can definitely help with the hyperpigmentation, but I feel like more than that, it's just really great at reducing redness and therefore brightening up and evening out your complexion. That is what I feel like it's really good for and what I kind of use it for. So it also has antimicrobial properties, so it can help with kind of fighting off acne causing bacteria in a really gentle and mild way. And it can also help with things like the redness that comes with rosacea. So it's once again a really gentle ingredient that I've loved for a long time. And the very first product that I ever used with Azelaic Acid was the Paula's Choice Booster, and I still love that. I actually just finished another tube, so I don't have it right now. How Azelaic works when it comes to hyperpigmentation is, once again, it helps to stop and inhibit the melanin from being overly produced in our skin. So it just tells it, you know what, chill out little dude, stop spreading your little dark mangly tentacles all over my skin. So that one had 10% of the azelaic acid, which is proven to be effective at that range, so 10% is great. And it's like this gel cream consistency, which was so smooth and also oil free, so it wasn't greasy. And the cool thing about the boosters was that you could add it into your serum or add it into your moisturizer, and at the beginning I would add it in as my moisturizer kind of booster. So I would use that, and I feel like it just played really well into my routine, whatever it was at the time. But honestly, the awesome thing about that booster is that it contains a little bit of salicylic acid as well. So not only is it like subtly brightening and evening out your entire face, it's also helping in the background with breaking down kind of like clogged pores and prevention of breakouts. So I remember sometimes I would use that with like the 2% BHA treatment toner around the nose, and it just breaks it all down to the point where your skin is just like nice, flat, not poreless, but like the pores are clean and they're small. So I feel like if you're looking for something like that, that duo, you have to get the Azelaic Acid and the 2% BHA from Paula's Choice. Oh my god. So if you can't see how much I love my Paula's Choice products because they just seem to be in everything that I love, lol, highly recommend that. And I just feel like this booster was the best overall product to date. Like I still haven't found anything that just does everything. Unclogs pores, reduces redness, evens out skin tone, helps with hyperpigmentation, evening out just combination texture. Like nothing else has really come close. But Naturium does also have their Azelaic Acid Emulsion 10%, which I also really enjoyed because it was that same kind of like light gel moisturizer consistency. I did realize that when I used this one that I did have a little bit of tingling on my skin that I didn't get with the Paula's Choice. I don't know what it is about it because even looking into the ingredients of the Naturium, there's nothing there that should like technically like sting my skin, but I remember sometimes using it. Yeah, there's nothing in that should have theoretically like made my skin tingle or anything like that, so I just thought that was interesting. But that one also has oat kernel extract, which is really good for calming, and niacinamide as well as allantoin, so they're all subtly brightening ingredients as well. Yeah, this one just won't be able to break down and get into your pores as much, so I don't think this one is as pore clarifying and pore unclogging as the Paula's Choice, but it is good for overall brightening. So this one was also really great to use in a routine if you love that kind of gel cream milky consistency. Yeah. Moving on to our fifth and final kind of ingredient. It's not actually one ingredient, the vitamin C alternatives. So as we know, vitamin C is really great for hyperpigmentation, right? But personally, I just think of it as a daytime ingredient. Maybe because that's just to help me simplify like how I approach day and night. I don't want to spend too much time thinking about specifically what it is that I'm gonna use. So vitamin C to me is just like daytime. But sometimes, you know, vitamin C is like either too expensive in serum form or it's just too unstable because it goes rancid really easily. Whatever the reason that maybe you're not into vitamin C, there's vitamin C alternatives that are also really great for helping lighten any dark areas. So vitamin C is actually present in other ingredients, right? So my favorite that I want to mention today are plum, as well as the like yuzu or the tangerine, and sea buckthorn, which is actually another really underrated ingredient. So first starting off with plum. Plum has a bunch of natural forms of vitamin C. My favorite is the Glow Recipe Plum Plump Serum. That one I feel like is so hydrating. It's more hydrating than it is brightening, but I feel like if you're not going through anything really traumatic, like your skin is already okay, you're just maybe battling with a few kind of darker areas and it's nothing too crazy, that's one that I feel like is really great for your routine. And although I don't feel like that's going to really change your life in terms of fading acne marks and things like that, it's more hydrating in my mind, but you can pair it with something like these, you know, alternate it on days that you don't use the more like potent active ingredients while still doing the brightening even on your off days. So I love that one. Go-To also uses plum in their Transformazing mask, which is Rowena's absolute favorite mask of all time, and in their Go-To facial oil. That one is so good and also contains the sea buckthorn, which is another great vitamin C alternative. And sea buckthorn brightens the skin overall, and personally, like I experienced how great it can be when formulated with other ingredients is when I use the Dr. Ceuracle Propolis 33 Ampoule. That one single-handedly changed my life and brightened my skin when I used it with the Haru Haru. Over time, like 2 to 3 weeks of using it consistently day and night, because it is very gentle and subtle, you'll just realize there's this like lit from within glow, you're hydrated, you're like, what did I even do? I didn't do anything, but it was working in the background. These are the type of ingredients that I feel like are doing that. It's in the background. I would think of it more hydrating because it's not really active in my mind. It's like, it's just kind of doing its thing. And then there's the Goodal, the Green Tangerine Vitamin C Serum that we recently talked about. Love it. Like, you can even see all the tests that they've done on it. It helps to drastically reduce redness, acne marks, you know, inflammatory hyperpigmentation and all that with repeated use. And I love their mask. Like, I am just so blown away by how awesome that formula was. When I used it, I was just like, oh my God, I'm like, wow. Dude, that was so delightful. Look how glass skinny it makes you look. Wow. So yes, these are actually, I didn't even realize, just a bunch of my favorite ingredients. I've kind of stayed away from using kind of heavy glycolic acids for the longest time now. I don't even know if I have any anymore. These are actually the ingredients that I look for and I use most often when it comes to helping treat my acne marks and overall brightening and pore care, because now I just feel like the gentle approach is best and it like works wonders. So everything that I mentioned in this video is actually just my favorite products. If you have any questions, leave it below. And yeah, you know, the feeling that even skin, like evened out skin gives is just so satisfying. Like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but honestly, this is one of my better kind of skin months. It's been a great skin quarter. Check out all the details, we'll put it below. And thank you for Paula's Choice for once again allowing us to share more incredible products from their range. And yeah, we'll see you very soon in the next video. Bye, good night. Oh, and guys, so if you want to continue this discussion, please make sure you join our community, because we have a whole hyperpigmentation acne scar circle, which is where we chat all things about products. We'll start a challenge. Maybe it's like 7 days of a certain ingredient. Stay tuned. We're going to put that all in the description, and then we can really track each other's progress and we can share which products have been working and see how visually our skin changes day by day with each other. Oh my God, this is so fun. So yes, please join our community. That's where Ro and I hang out with all of you guys when we're not here. And yeah, it's just like a deeper dive into everything skincare. So we'll see you there, and if not, catch you later. Good night for now.